Morning everybody, it's Saturday, feels like a Sunday, early Saturday morning. I'll apologise in advance because they're banging next door and I'm not quite sure what it is they're doing. There's a couple of things I want to say and I'm just going to come right out and say them regarding Chantal. The first is regarding the mansion. The lease that she sorted out was an agreement between her and the owners of said mansion. It was for her to rent the place at $3,600 a month, to look after their cats, to look after their furniture, etc. It was not an agreement between them and Pete's, or between them and Pete's mum, or between them and Pete's brother. It was an agreement between them and Chantal. And some of the beezers have been telling us you're to sue them for backing out at the last minute. Well, good luck with that, because you absolutely reneged on what you originally promised to do, which was look after the property, look after the cats, have the housekeeper going in. I also worked it out. You said that, I know I mentioned this yesterday, but you said if you rented for 2 years, for example, they were going to allow that money to be offset if you decided that you wanted to buy the place. So I worked that out and that comes to $86,500 at the end of 2 years. So you'd be living there for nothing, getting all this free housekeeper, vet visit for your cats, well, vet coming out for all cats, etc. And in addition, you'd be paying £3,600, but that $3,600 would actually almost be going into a savings account for you and would be your deposit on the house. It was an absolute load of BS, and how anybody actually believed it, I'm at a loss. It went from being a 3-bedroomed house to a 6-bedroomed house to a 4-bedroomed house, from a luxury villa, such as you're in, to a mansion. You said you had to be out of the villa by this weekend. So how come? How come they've suddenly let you stay on? It was just lies, and you know, it's one of the reasons I make these videos, because you're making a very good living on the lies that you tell. Which brings me on to Kuwait. The Salah, a devout Muslim, you're now Musliming up with the hijab. It takes more than wearing a piece of cloth on your head to be a devout anything. It takes a change of heart. It takes a pure soul. You have neither. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying it can't happen in the space of a day or two. From sleeping with a house full of immigrants to meeting the prince of your dreams, although he's not a prince, he's what is he? Car salesman, used car salesman. He poses with all these big posh cars that have still got all the plastic on the back seats. And the price is on the window. But you expect us to believe that 2 days before you were sleeping with all these men, according to you, and then you met Salah on Tinder. Second day he proposed to you, you accepted. No devout Muslim man would do that. as I say, 29, reasonable looking. You say he's got a good job. He could have his pick, really. So why you, after 2 days? Why you? The purpose, I shouldn't use that word, I'm sorry. The expectations of a good Muslim wife are to be devout, to be obedient to her husband, to be a good mother to their children, to rear the next generation, as strong, healthy scholars of the Quran. I'm not sure that any of those things can apply to you. Certainly not the children part, and I'm not going to labour that. That is one of the reasons why I was saying that if he decided to marry you, if he then decided he wanted a family, as his own family would expect him to have, then he might well take a second wife. And yet you come on YouTube saying that you were going to unalive her if that happened. I hope he's listening to all this and taking all this in, as if he exists. The little jar of spreadable nut paste that you had, and you said, how would I have this if I hadn't been to the mansion? You could have bought it at a farmer's market. You could have bought it at a health food shop. You could have received it as a gift from Dee Dee or Nada. Lots of places you could have got that. That's not proof. Cup of tea, does that mean I own Thai food? No. It doesn't. You gaslight constantly, and it's becoming very tedious now. There's no further to go with the mansion arc. That's all over. Nowhere to go with your villa arc, except if it's going to be cleaned up. Then we might get views of you, the Hoover and the cleaners into deep clean, because Peace won't be able to do it alone. So the mansion and the villa, we can push them to one side. Your antics with immigrants, all that is over because you've met your prince. And so all we've got now is the arc by which we are going to be befouled by all this nonsensical, my prince, my love, my darling, my dear, to a man you've never met. To a man who really, what's he marrying you for? What's he marrying you for? Are you really so blind to your own faults, to your own lack of attributes that are required in regards to a man taking a wife, at least in Islam? The attributes I've just listed: devout to Allah, obedient wife. You're not there yet. Having children, you can't. Raising children, a strong, healthy next generation, teaching them the Quran. Name one of those requirements that you can fulfill. Just one. I don't think you can. Somebody asked me somewhere in the comments if I'd met, because I'm in touch with a couple of people who I used to work with, if I've got opinions on what's going on from them. And I haven't. I haven't asked for opinions. I haven't mentioned it, but I might. Hypothetically, no names mentioned, but hypothetically, because I'd be very interested to know what the current opinion is. I know that in some areas, schools have thought that it's necessary or a requirement that the woman is a virgin. That is no longer the case, not strictly. If she's repented of her previous life and can fulfil all those requirements, then the marriage can go ahead. But also what you have to remember, Chantal, it's not just a marriage of two individuals in this culture. It's a marriage of two families. Clearly, Salah hasn't met, spoken to, or even seen your family. And clearly, the same goes for you with his family. I think it's going to be a culture shock for them, to say the very least, to see the sort of woman that their son is going to take for his bride, or his first bride. You might be his second bride, who knows? Which brings me on to the subject of, you say you don't have to work anymore, that you've got a source of income coming in from somewhere else. And I'm wondering where that's coming from. It's got to be coming from somebody who's got money. It's got to be coming from somebody who is getting something from you in return. Transactional, as with everything with you. So could it be citizenship for Prince Salah? I shouldn't say Prince Salah, Mr. Salah. Could it be that you're going to be paid a pretty hefty sum for? I don't know what the going rate is for being propositioned to be a bride and getting citizenship for somebody nowadays, but I do have a friend whose daughter many moons ago was asked to do similar. And I mean, I don't know what the situation was there with money. I don't know whether any money was mentioned, but I also know that, again, when I was in the Middle East, a couple of women there were a couple of the, single nurses were propositioned just so that, and by professional men also, and they were going to be paid a pretty good amount, probably the equivalent of 2 years, 3 years salary to sponsor these men who are making a lot of money out there anyway. So the money that you're not getting now off YouTube because you've privated so many of your videos. I notice you've only privated them, you've not deleted them. So your paydays are going to be very low from here on in until such time as you start making content again. Maybe that's a condition of you're becoming a bride to this man, that you rein yourself in, you watch your mouth, and you behave yourself for the 3 years until you no longer need your sponsorship. I believe it's 3 years in Canada. And those 3 years, of course, you would be responsible for him to make sure that he's got enough to maintain his upkeep. But I guess that's also part of the deal. That's taking, that's me assuming, you know what they say about assuming, it makes an ass out of you and me. But that's me taking you at your word's value now, and that you are going to Kuwait, you are going to meet up with this fella, you are going to marry him. I wish that it was all caught on camera when you go through that gate and there he is holding up a sign saying Foodie Beauty, and then he looks and he sees you. What a hoot. I'll be back later, everybody. Bye-bye.